are the opening words of the preamble to the United States Constitution. They signify that the power of us, our government, rests with us, the citizens, not the government. Hello, I'm Dr. Gloria Frederick, your host for Voices of We the People. I thank you for joining us and for joining our two guests who are very special for us today because this is a very special program. This is our New Year's program, and we're going to help you get started on the right foot. Let me introduce Dr. Sutton, who is a longtime friend. So let her introduce her many accolades, and then Shanika will introduce her many accolades, and then we'll get on to the questions.
Well, thank you first of all for having me, Dr. Gloria. I enjoy the opportunity to speak about what I'm passionate about. And one thing I am passionate about is speaking about things that can uplift people, give them a boost, help them find the greater good within themselves. So anytime I have the opportunity to share that from my experience, from my learning, I would do that. So thank you for having me here this evening. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure that you could come with us and join us. I'm looking forward to all the good stuff you're going to share. Shanika, I was very, very pleasantly surprised to find out that you were a member of 5 honor societies. How did you manage that?
I study a lot and I just balance, and God got me through it through a lot of prayer.
That's astounding. Tamika is a graduate of North Carolina A&T. Yay, go Aggies. But more importantly, she is a young Dem, and she has so much to share with us about the lessons she learned during 2025 and what she is looking forward to in 2026. So let me start with this quote. Hold on. Shanika, is there anything else you want to share about yourself?
No, ma'am. That's a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, terrific. It's my pleasure. I want to start with this quote that I came across a few days ago. What the new year brings to you depends on what you bring to the new year. And I thought that was great for just getting started with our conversation. Now, each of you had already introduced yourselves, and I appreciate that. I have some questions just to get us going. And then you can take over and lead our conversation because I am the guide on the side today. All right. I was wondering if you would reflect on your highs and lows for 2025. What gave you so much joy and maybe exceeded your expectations? And then what was more of a challenge? We'll start with Dr. Sutton.
Well, let me start with the easiest one I can come up with. I've been working in diversity and inclusion, oh, 25 years or more. So to come into a space all of a sudden where they say you can no longer work with minority firms exclusively, we cannot push that, was really a challenge for me. It was like taking my passion out of my work. But again, on the flip side, I'm very fortunate to be working with an organization that still values me as a person, the work that I can do. And I got ahead of the game and offered an alternative title. Instead of Director of Diversity, I became Director of Supplier Engagement. So I still have the opportunity to engage with suppliers, share opportunities that are available at the company, but it's have to do with all firms, not just minority and women-owned firms. So that's the flip side of the dark side. And one of my greatest joys was knowing that I have a company that wants me there and has created a pathway. And it was kind of comical because when I changed my job title on LinkedIn or social media, I was getting all kind of, oh, congratulations on your new position. Congratulations on your promotion. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, it's not a promotion. It's an adjustment. But I said, you know what? Look at it as a promotion. Make it a positive thing. So I'm working with more firms. So it's broadening my reach. So it is a promotion in a sense. Um, so that was my biggest thing, adjusting and being flexible and being able to continue doing what I do just in a different way.
That sounds actually pretty exciting. To be able to remake your, at least remake your position, and then to figure out how you're going to deliver this new thing you created, this new title, this new position, because it also expanded what you were going to do or what you had been doing. So now you have new customers, right?
Exactly. And I'm too close to retirement to try to fuss about a job title. As my father used to say, as long as you spell my name right on my check, I'm good. So I'm making the best of a new situation and still finding ways to help people, businesses get opportunities to sell their goods to the organization I work with.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Shanika, what were some of your greatest joys and challenges in 2025?
Well, if you don't mind, I'm gonna start with my challenges and then go to my joys, if that's okay.
We're we're telling our story. And so if it's your story, please.
Yes, ma'am. Well, some of my challenges were that I had 9 deaths this year.
Wow.
My dad, he's working with the solar energy company, and due to the bills that the Republican passed, he ended up getting laid off with a lot of men. So he lost his job, and then he's also ill. So what I took from that was, oh Lord, it's kind of emotional for me. I'm sorry about that. But
Okay.
yes, ma'am. But I always try to turn my lemon into lemonade. So I learned how to enjoy the small things in life, like yoga, going on nature trails, spending quality time with a family that I still have left on this earth, and things like that.
I know that one of your really close cousins, you lost around the Christmas season, right?
No, it's actually in August that I lost
Okay.
her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one of your really close cousins. Okay. Um, now, what was the greatest joy? What was the joy that you said, okay, this is it for me, and I needed to experience this?
Um, this spend time with her 3 girls that she still that she left behind, and those are my greatest joys. Now they're my adopted nieces, so I look forward to seeing them when I'm able to.
Thank you.
My greatest joy, if I may, my
Please.
daughter, who is grown, I tell people in 1995, when I brought my baby home from the hospital and put her in a crib, the first 18 years of her life was laid out in my mind. My head had it all figured out. This is what's going to happen. But I said, okay, God, you got a different plan. So no, my daughter did not go the plan that I had laid out for her when she was in the womb. She took some turns, she took some twists, but guess what? She went back to college and she graduated in August of this year.
Oh, wow.
She took a different course, and I had to learn that my plan was not the plan for her and wasn't God's plan. So it was a growing experience for me as a mother, for me as a person, to realize that everything I had laid out, because I'm a planner, I'm a fixer. Oh, there's a problem, let me run fix it. But all things are not for me to fix. is to sit back and let go and let God. And she is such a happier person. She feels accomplished. She's satisfied with herself, and I see a growth in her that I that it was just unimaginable. And she's still in school. She got her associates. What? Let me back up a little bit. At one point, she told my mother, she said, "Grandma, I've been in school a long time. I need to fix something." So she went to her guidance counselor. They looked at all her records, and he was like, "If you take these 3 courses this summer, you can graduate with your associates." So she did that. She got her associate, and to see my child walk across that stage with a cap and gown on, tears, just tears all over the place. And then, so she got her associates, and now she's in school working on her LPN, and she'll have that next August. And of course, I want her to go ahead with her RN, but that's her choice. But I think she's going to go that route. So it was a different route. Wasn't my plan that worked out, but it was God's plan, and she's in a good place. And I couldn't, as a mother, I couldn't ask for anything more. So having my baby walk across that stage was my joy for 2025.
And I share that joy because I remember talking to your mother and how fulfilled she was that her granddaughter
Yes.
was walking. You know, normally I just let our guests talk, but I feel compelled to talk now, just a little bit, because I had such an unexpected year. I went to a meeting hmm, in the spring, and I looked at before I went. I looked at the boating patterns and what had been going on. I live in Sneeds Ferry, and so I looked at the boating situation in Onslow County, Sneeds Ferry. Only 59% of Onslow County residents had voted. 59%. Every other county that surrounded us um, had exceeded our voting pattern. So I was asked to be the minority representative for our district, and I wasn't sure what in the world that entailed, but I did know that we had to reach out. It was sort of like what you were saying, Dr. Sutton, when you were talking about creating this new thing that you were involved in. Well, it sort of ended up like that. And I decided, okay, I need to reach out to the folks in our district. And it's a rural area. We live in a rural area. And so, how do I reach out to as many people as possible? I said, okay, I'll create a podcast. Well, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. How do you create a podcast? What do you do? And what exactly is a podcast? But I've been hearing about it, and I read about them, and I saw people who did it. And I said, well, it couldn't be too difficult. Boy, was I wrong. Anyway, anyway, I had the wonderful fortune at that meeting to talk with Tamika Robinson. And I said to her, I I, I want to create a podcast, but I have no clue about what to do. And she said, oh, you'll learn. And she's been right. So she's been my guide throughout this podcast creation. But I think it's important for us to step out and do different things, do what we're not accustomed to doing. And we need people who will help us to do that. And Tamika was my person who helped me to do that. So that was my high. The low was I realized I didn't really have the technological skills to do this. And so it was a learning curve on that, and I'm still working on that one. But the joy of just reaching people and creating something special and trying to get people out to vote and change their surroundings and change what's happening in their lives. It's like what both of you have been saying. We have to take a new path. And so that brings me, believe it or not, to what are we going to do in 2026? I know that we have lessons that we want to share or joys that we want to reach or new heights we want to climb. Um, so I'm asking both of you, 2026, is this your dream year? What do you see happening in 2026? Let's go with you first, Shanika.
Well, my dream is, and what I plan to do to reach that dream is to reach out to the young people to get more involved in politics. And we're going to do that by, doing activities that they like to attend, maybe get some special guests to come in and talk to them to motivate them and different things like that.
Dr.
For
Sutton.
me, 2026 is going to be a transformation year. I just finished my vision board for 2026.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I did one, well, 10 years ago when I was finishing up my PhD work, and having that visual to look at on a daily basis is very powerful for me. Instead of making a resolution, I make a word for the year. Because how many people keep a resolution beyond February 15th? So I have a word for, so my word for this year, for 2026, is mindful. To be mindful of what I do, be mindful of what I say, be mindful of how I do it, be mindful of what I share, what I don't share. So I'm going to be mindful for the next 360 days or more, and hopefully make a difference in some small way, and realize that I cannot take on the whole world. I have to take it, do small chunks. The people that I'm closest with that I can impact, make sure I do that in a positive way.
Shanika, what about you?
Um, well, I was like, what I'm gonna do is just rest in chaos. Um, so when things don't go well, don't panic, don't um freak out. Just rest in chaos when things don't go well. And I'm sorry. And what I'm gonna also do is talk more in front of the camera and just branch out and different things like this. 'Cause I'm really nervous. So this is my first time. So just learning how to fight through being uncomfortable and just pursuing my dream of one day having my own podcast, just like you.
Yay. That's a, that, um, we we've been talking a little bit, Shanika and I, about her dream of having her own podcast. And to the extent that I can help, I certainly will. I want to go back to something that Dr. Sutton said. She talked about her vision board, and I wonder how many of us really know what a vision board is. So, could you explain it?
Yes, first of all, as I said, I pick a word. And well, actually, it was something I saw, I think, on Facebook. And it's a group of words, a group of letters said, look at this, and the first word you see is your word. And you look at all these letters, and then the word that I first saw was mindful. So I said to myself, as I sat down with my vision board, I want to pick some key things I want to be mindful about. So I pick those first. You start off writing on a piece of paper. I want to be mindful about this, mindful about that. And then you find images or words, however you want to put together to make a board. If y'all want, I can go get it and show you if you want. But mine was mind, body, and soul. I want to keep my mind going. I'm gonna pick up some. I think learning is lifelong, so I'll do maybe some certification classes, um, spiritual, that's part of it, and then take better care of my body. Eating better. I don't eat terribly now, but recently I lost like 30 pounds a couple years ago. And I'll make sure I don't gain those back. So eating better, drinking more water, spending more time with the Word of God. I'm not going to be one who's run around quoting scriptures, but I know what to do and how to do it. But don't I'm not Bible study. No, I'm not that, but I know what to do. I'm grounded and rooted in that. One of the things I looked at, how public is this podcast going to be? I
How
just,
public?
well, it's public. Well, I'm making a move at some point because right now I'm paying a mortgage and I'm paying rent here in Raleigh, and I can't keep doing both. So I want to get back to my home in Wilmington because my mortgage is higher than my rent. No, my rent is higher than my mortgage, and
Yeah,
that's
mortgage,
ridiculous.
yeah.
So that's one thing that's on my vision board. That's a big thing on my vision board. Um, what else is on my vision board? Oh, I'm very active in my sorority. Have a lot of responsibility there. That's a part of my vision board because I'll make sure I do those well and don't get overwhelmed. So I need to make sure that I'm pacing myself. Being mindful of that, being mindful of keeping relationships and not, and also what I tell a lot of people, I tell myself too, the word no is a complete sentence. So don't take on everything, get overwhelmed. Because I felt a little of that earlier today. I'm like, okay, sure, stop and breathe. It's okay to say no without an explanation. So those are things that are on my vision board that I'm very intentional about. And having that visual will help me a lot.
Is your vision board nearby? I mean, it would be nice to share it.
Yeah,
And you could,
want me to turn off my camera and go get it?
yeah, I'm going to talk to Shanika while you
Okay.
do that.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you. So, Shanika, what's your guiding word for 2026? If you had to come up with, say, a theme, a guiding theme, what would it be?
Hmm. Staying determined.
Staying determined?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Talk about that a bit.
Okay, so sometimes when things get hard and rough, I have a tendency to quit and give up and just throw in the towel. But I'm learning at this age of 39 that everything's not going to come easy. So you just hold on to God's hand in the valley and just ride out the waves with God and get through it and stay determined and accomplish your goals.
Is there something that you anticipate doing in 2026? And are there people that you want to do it with so that it will be a fuller experience?
Yes, so I want to come up with two 503 organizations, and I do have some people in mind that I would like to work with, but I don't want to put their name out in the public.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. So, so you want to create nonprofits,
Yes, ma'am. Like, for instance,
501c3s.
um, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like, for instance, I have lupus, so I want to come up with like a chronic illness group. Like one part of it would be like a support group to help people through their chronic pain and issues. And the other one would be like sponsoring a family financially to help them pay their bills and etc. And the other one is also doing maybe it's going to take time, but making spiritual leaders for my other 503 organization.
You know, one of the things that occurs to me is as you are talking about creating a 501c3 to respond to lupus issues, that's a whole podcast. I mean, that's something that you can talk about and bring people in to talk about it with you, to bring in people who experience lupus, people who treat lupus. That's a podcast all by itself. So I'm
Ma'am,
I'm I'm hoping that, well, hope doesn't get it. We need action. So I'm hoping that you will figure out the path that will help you to get here. Hang on.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Sutton is back.
No, no pressure, Shanika. No pressure. Okay, I was trying to see if my vision board would fit in the screen. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'll lift. Can you see it well? Is it out of focus?
The closer you come, wait a minute, it keeps going in and coming out.
Okay.
I can see part of it. There, right
Oh,
there.
okay. Well, if you
I
see
can
here, this is a mirror panel, so I can look in there and see myself over here. Let me see. I have the goal of moving back. I have the calendar dates because what I want to do is every 2 weeks, I want to check my progress. And I'll just move it. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it or not. Okay. And I have a briefcase there, which represent that I work. And on that quote for that one says, stand tall, wear a crown, and be sweet on the inside, which is the pineapple. You know, stand tall, wear a crown. That was that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate
Mm-hmm.
that you really can't see it. I have on here, oh, cleanliness is next to godliness. I'm nobody's housekeeper. My house is not dirty, it's not nasty, but you're gonna see stuff. But I want to do better at picking up because I always I keep my public areas straight and orderly, but I want to make sure my whole house is presentable. It's gonna smell good, but you may see, for instance, I have a joke. It says, "How can you tell I just deep cleaned my house?" And the answer is because the vacuum cleaner is gonna still be in the living room. Because I have a tendency to keep the vacuum cleaner, don't put stuff away. But but that's one thing I want to get better at. I have the office nook here, and I made sure the first thing I did was to clear my office nook. So therefore, all my office stuff, including my work laptop, could be in here. And I don't work at the living room table. I don't work at the kitchen table. I work here in my office nook. So that is one
Mm-hmm.
of my main goal. One of my goals for 2026 is to be right here in this office nook, because that's why I fell in love with the apartment. I walked in. Right to the left was an office nook. I'm like, oh, this is perfect because I don't have to make offers out of a second bedroom. So those are kind of things that are on this board that will keep me focused. And I want to start saving more money and spending less money. So I have images of that on here with arrows going down for the credit card debt and arrows going up for the savings account. So again, just a visual that helps me say, sure, this is what you said and this is what you want to do. So this is it. Keeps me grounded. I wish you all could see it more, but you can't.
When you hold it kind of at an angle, we can see it better. I appreciate that the vision board helps you
Oh, it does.
prioritize.
Hmm.
And that was one of the questions that I wanted to, one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Hmm.
What's what's going to be your 2026 priority for you personally, for for your outreach into the community, for your spiritual self? Um, just because you want to do something important. And I'm thinking about what you said about the vision board. It helps you to identify priorities, right?
Yes. Well, one
Um,
thing I talked about the shift in the focus on my job, where I no longer can focus on minority and women-owned businesses. But one group we can focus on are the veterans. So I am a new board member for the North Carolina Veterans Business Association. Um,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
so my purpose and my passion, I can filter it there. So I'm very excited about that. We have our annual meeting next week. I'll be going to Charlotte for that. So my passion to do things in the community outside of my work and still considering work will be working with the Veteran Association to make sure they know about opportunities at my company that their businesses can support and flourish too. So that's
mm-hmm,
my give back, if you will. So I'm
mm-hmm.
still giving back, just doing it in a different way with a different focus. So being flexible and agile is what I'm learning to do as well.
Shanika, what are the lessons that you've learned in 2025 that you're carrying forward, if there are any, in 2026?
Just to be more thankful in the small things of life. That's the lessons that I learned in 2025 that I plan to carry on in 2026.
I'm going to insert myself again here, and that is what I learned. I learned that you don't have to know it all. In fact, sometimes you don't have to know anything. Just research and read and figure it out. That's certainly true of the podcast, but it's also true of another project that I've been working on, which has to do with history. And I think that what we can share with our listeners is you don't have to know everything immediately. You can take a look at what your area is or what you want to know about and do some research. And the internet is powerful. It's got stuff that you can learn and research. The other thing is we all have connections that help us to get to where we want to be, to our new experiences. And sometimes we don't always appreciate those connections because we're so busy thinking we don't know what to do. And just conversations within our community help us to understand how we can make the connections that work for us and get us to the point where we need to be. In terms of anything new, now you've already talked, Dr. Sutton, about what you anticipate going on in 2026, a new endeavor. Um, Shanika, why don't you talk about what your new endeavor is? You've already mentioned two things, your nonprofits, and that you wanted to outreach to young people, right?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there anything you want to add?
No, ma'am, that's it. That's a handful trying to do two 503 organizations. That's going to be a lot. And
It
working
is?
with young them. Yes.
Okay. Can you, both of you, just talk about your wild predictions for 2026? Why don't we start with Dr. Sutton? Or do you have any?
Do I have a wild prediction?
Yes.
Well, I will say this. Like I said earlier, my daughter is still in school pursuing her second degree. Um, and my wild prediction, which I believe will come to fruition, is that she will continue and receive her RN so she can truly be free of my pocketbook. I told her when she turned 30, we
That's
went
your
to New York.
goal.
Went to New York and celebrate her 30th birthday, her 30th and my 60th. And I said, Allison, you're 30 now. I'm cutting you off. But as a mother, single mother, that doesn't really ever happen. But I'm hoping that my wish and my vision is that she will finish school, get her RN, and become financially independent, free of me, But that's always my baby. It's the only one I have. But still, that's what I really hope for her because I know she has to be able to survive and thrive without me. And one day, her mommy won't be here. That's just reality. But I want her to be strong enough and have enough going on so she can survive on her own and be the strong woman that she's seen. They say, the quote
Mhm.
is be a strong woman, have a strong woman, and raise them, something like that. I don't know how it exactly goes, but that's what I want for my child to be self-sufficient, independent on her own. And I don't know if that's a wild vision. That's just the hope and prayer that I have for her. And I know she wants it for herself as well. We know my mother, her grandmother wants it. So that's what my vision is for her.
What about you, Sanika?
Well, my wild vision and hope is that the Democrats in the
That part.
midterm take the House and Senate and
Yeah.
we can get that nut Trump out of the White House. That's um that's my hope.
I join you with that one.
I
I
found the
think
quote. It was actually on my desk. Here's to strong women. May we know them. May we be them. May we raise them. So that's it. I know.
fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really good one. Um, Let me do a quick segue for a minute and
Mm-hmm.
reintroduce what we're doing, and I'll get back to you in a minute. You are listening to Voices of We the People. Our guests are Dr. Cheryl Sutton and Ms. Shanika Lyons. And what we haven't talked about with Shanika is she's a social media maven extraordinaire. She has so many people who follow her on her various social media uh, programs that she's going to help me do a few things. That's one thing I don't do. Um, and to our audience, don't forget that you can go to our website, voiceofwethepeople.com, and give us feedback on today's program. And you can make a contribution or a donation or both. You can also suggest future topics. You can suggest guests that might be appropriate for what we're doing here. And see our website for more detail. We have a Bodarama education in-person thing coming up February 28th in Jacksonville, and we'll be talking more about that. And it's voter ABCs. We're trying to build a community of voters. And so now back to our guest. Let me reintroduce Dr. Sutton and Ms. Lyons. Dr. Sutton is a supplier engagement. I love that term. I didn't like supplier diversity anyway, even though I worked with it a bit. Supplier engagement. And Shanika has some amazing ideas, but more to the point, she does really good graphic stuff. She hasn't talked about it, and she hasn't talked about how she got involved with it, but she does. Um, and let's talk a little bit more about what's important to us going into 2026 and what we want to share with the community that we want to help them to get involved, go out and vote, and to understand empowerment and what it means. And I think Dr. Sutton presented us with a good possible avenue to think about it, and that's her vision board. But also, Shanika has talked about her goals and aspirations. There are people out there who will help you to do that. So let's get back to what's important to us going forward. Um, Shanika, you want to start?
Yes. What is important to me? As I shared with you, I believe it was Tuesday night, and maybe the Young Dems can help out the senior citizens. I hate to see people in their 70s through 90s who have to cut some of their health programs and pay like their rent, and put their money towards their rent and their mortgage, and they end up getting real sick and can get the health care um, that they need.
I think that that's an important thing to point out that our seniors, given what's going on in Washington, some of them, particularly in our rural areas, are being really hard hit because they don't have the medical insurance. They don't. The medical situation in rural North Carolina, as it is in many rural areas, is difficult to manage. So we are. That's one of my hopes and concerns for going forward is to bring to the community's attention those places where there are deficits and Certainly, healthcare is one. Food security is another, and housing. It is shameful to me that we have children who don't have enough food from day to day. It makes no sense in this country where we have billionaires and gazillionaires taking all the funds and our children are starving. This is our future, and we're just neglecting our future, just ignoring it. Those are my thoughts. What about you guys? Cheryl, you want to start?
Yes, I will. One thing I will say, when you finish your PhD, you become a consultant, and I do some consulting very casually, nothing formalized, but my consulting business, my mantra is making connections count. So I want to ask you, Shanika, may I get your contact information from Dr. Gloria?
Yes, ma'am. You can.
Also, are you in the Raleigh area?
No, ma'am, but I don't mind traveling. I love to travel, so I can meet you sometime.
Okay, we want to make this connection count because oftentimes you meet people, you connect, and you don't hear from them anymore. You don't make, but I want to make sure we stay connected. So I'll get your contact information from Dr. Gloria, and you may get an email from me to say, "Hey, your podcast buddy, let's see what we can do." So it's important to make connections, make them meaningful, and like going back to no is a complete answer. Don't want to spend a lot of time. I hate to say wasted, but just steal time that doesn't become anything. So just being mindful of your time, mindful of who you're spending time with, mindful of what you're engaging in. So that's what I want to be sure I do. And I was so hoping when you talk about your future, Shanika, I'm just going to be, I was hoping to say, I'm going to get my PhD. Because I was like, yes, girl, we're going to help you with that. Because I tell young people, and you're younger than me, if you say that to me, you're going to hear me ask you about it. I'm not going to bother you every month or every 2 months, but every now and then I'm saying, hey, how's that PhD program coming? Have you applied yet? So if you ever think about it, you say it to me, you're going to hear me ask you about it. Because unfortunately, only 2% of the PhDs in this country are African Americans. And
Yeah, it's true.
excuse me, I could not believe that when I first heard that.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
that's the case. Excuse me. So that's it. Just staying positive and helping other people remain positive.
Dr. Sutton, what I was going to say was that I do have plans to go back to school. I had to take a little break due to my lupus diagnosis. I'm gonna switch my career more to like a minor in Spanish and get a major in politics. So I do plan to go back to get my master's and PhD eventually. I'm just glad that I feel better. And that is one of my joys because at one time I couldn't even walk from the kitchen to the living room. I was so sick and I was in so much pain. And I couldn't even talk like I am now due to the pain of lupus. And one thing I do hope to overcome, and I see it now, and I did not realize it that it was so bad until I talked to you guys on the podcast. I am suffering from brain fog and getting my words out clearer. So I see that I really need to improve in that area and not give up on it. And yes, so this is definitely a learning experience.
Well, I will say, as a two-time stroke survivor, I have brain fog as well. Um, so hang in there. You're good. You're starting on your way. Just put yourself out there, read out loud. Because my thing, so yeah, because I'm a two-time stroke survivor. You can't tell about looking at me. That's what people say. But I see things that people don't see. So yeah, being out here, putting my face out here, that's a challenge too. But you on your way. You're on your way. I'm gonna keep you in prayer and know that you're a strong Black woman in America and you're destined to do greater things. So I'll pray for you in that sense.
And I'll pray for you too, and for all your dreams. And please, let's stay connected. Yes, ma'am.
Consider it done.
I have so enjoyed this conversation with my two buddies who are making connections with each other And that is part of what this podcast aims to do, is making sure that we don't feel alone, that we have help when we need it, but that we also know how to reach out or can reach out. Um, I have always been an introvert. So again, why in the world am I doing
Okay.
a podcast?
I don't see you as an introvert, Miss Gloria. I do not see that.
Yeah, I am. What's fascinating to me, what's always been fascinating to me, is that many politicians are introverts. Because now I'm not a politician either, but they're introverts and they get into politics to try to put themselves out there. That's what they say anyway. Anyway, I I cannot tell you how grateful I am that the two of you have appeared as my guests on this podcast, and that I'm gonna be looking forward to reaching out to both of you again. So don't be surprised when Gloria calls and says, "Can you do this, that, and the other?" I I am grateful. And I am filled with God's grace as we leave uh, and we start 2026. And I feel that those of us who are listening to this podcast feel the same way. I want to remind us of what Dr. King said. And he believed in the ability to change society through the power of the vote. He said the great irony of our present moment is that both of those precepts, peaceful change and voting rights, are under assault and threaten America like never before in our lifetime. And when you consider what's been going on in Minneapolis, you have to say Dr. King was onto something, and that we have a responsibility to help our neighbors, to reach out to our friends, to help our family. So I hope through this podcast we are doing that. And again, I thank you for your presence on this podcast. Before I go, I have to thank my husband James, who is technical advisor, and he's the one who hooks up all the cameras and the lights and such, and makes sure the internet works. And Tamika, who just said she can't show her face because she wants the light to shine on us. But let me tell you, Tamika is going to be my guest in about 3 weeks. So I hope you'll tune in because she's an amazing, amazing person, who has so much to share. And you'll be seeing more of her, I hope. I mean, anybody who could say, I need to create an app so my work gets out there in a broader way, I'm thinking, what in the world is an app? But it must be important. Anyway, thank you so much. Bye bye.
You're welcome.